flowers are blooming, the bees are buzzing, the sun is shining, and it's time to show you the June garden tour. So I'm just loving the wildness under the apple tree. All sorts of nice surprises popping up. These poppies, for example, could have been in the wildflower mix, not quite sure. But the best bit is climbing up the apple tree. I've got some lovely buds on that Cornish rose. And I've just spotted, this appears to be a fantastic place for a thrush to smash its snail shells. How wonderful is that? Moving on, the apple mint. I have started using that. Sometimes needs searing, but not too bad right now. But yeah, this bed is really filling out now. The February sown cornflower, quite a lot smaller than my autumn sown, and you can just see one of them budding up now. I'm leaving the honesty as long as I dare. I desperately need bed space, so I might have to cut it and dry it very soon. Another lot of cornflower, grasses. These have still got a way to go before they flower, and these must have been self-sown, these bunny tails. Gone to seed already, some of them. I'm going to zoom fairly quickly past this bed. It has not been weeded, and it's my bits and pieces bed anyway, so just fun seeing what likes to grow in here. The pond area filling out nicely. Very clayey, unfortunately, rock hard. Managed to throw a few things in, mainly perennials. Just here, still got the last little bit to do. No particular thought about what's going in, just filling the space basically. Just going to look back up the bed actually, don't usually look this way. Okay, moving round the corner to the annuals area. We've actually got some colour. Let's just have a bit of a peek. Again, no major plan just yet here, apart from the tree, and I've put in some Alchemilla mollis around the edge and just packed it full of leftover annuals for the time being. The tulips are well and truly finished. Okay, so the cornflowers, look at the size of them. So I'm about 5'8" and they are taller than me. Snapdragons, I've cut some of the pink snapdragons and white ones are just coming at the back. And another bed of cornflower, lots of blues in here. Corncockle, must remember to keep some of those back so I can save the seed. And the larkspur is probably a couple of weeks off yet from flowering. Now I did interplant with some Scabiosa stellata, the ping pong scabious. Does not seem to grow very well with me. But anyway, it's in there and we'll see what happens. Okay, on the right hand side, just look at the Gypsophila Covent Garden. Just a whole beautiful bed of it. So the bit at the top end is autumn sown, and the bit at the bottom end, not far behind, but spring sown. And beside it is fantastic clary sage, blues, pinks, whites, all in there. The ranuncs have come out pretty much, apart from that one survivor, and I've planted some scabious in that bed. Finally, the nigella are flowering. So 2 beds of nigella. One was sown and one was self-sown. Not a lot of difference between them. And the cobea scandens, just put 2 plants in here. Cup and saucer plant is starting to romp away as expected. Got 2 on the other side as well. Let's look at the left-hand side first. The scabiosa, 3 different sorts. Growing pretty well in there. Haven't really looked at them very closely, so I hope they're all right. The Dahlias is getting there. Still going to be a while before it flowers. Oh, actually, tell a lie. Oh. No, we have a flower. Missed that one. This looks like it could be Dara on the whole. Oh no, that's right. I've got white at one end. I remember. White at one end, and then we've got the Dara at the other end, I do believe. So it's slightly pinker. Okay, the Melope. Yep, probably need to take the covers off this soon. Look how big it's getting. That'll be flowering in a couple of weeks. And Cosmos. We have some flowers, still quite small at the minute. I think it could do with feeding. And watering. All looking a bit shriveled up, aren't they? Okay, so this is the first time I've grown apricota. So pretty. So hopefully these are going to get a lot bigger, but I think I might need to give them a bit of help. Right hand side. Okay, so because I was so short of bed space, I took a drastic decision and weeded out all the self-sown nigella. It's all come out, and I've just left a little section, middle section of the direct sown Phacelia. We did this about March, I think, just so that we've got a succession of that, because I've got one lot already flowering, and then just had to get some more Cosmos in. I've got such a backlog of flowers, so I've managed to get quite a few Cosmos in here. Calendula, haven't used much of those. I absolutely love yellow, but not many people do. And then my second bed of Daucus up there, and my saved Ami. I have got succession for later in the summer, which is useful. And the Phacelia. Don't know if you can hear the bumblebees. Actually, they're honeybees. Right, actually managed to do a bit of weeding. So I've got some, oh, it's pretty dreadful. Most things have come out, which does mean I've got space to shove a few things. Managed to dig through a water pipe in the process, but hey ho. Right, perennials. The alliums are at their peak. Now I call this one Bulgaricum. Again, the bees are going mad. Usually it's bumblebees. Oh yeah, it's mainly bumble. There is some honeybees here as well. Let's have a look at the bumbles. So yeah, the Allium nigrum, purple sensation. I think these might be Christophii, leftover Christophii. I certainly haven't planted any more of those. And oh yeah, I think these are a lovely blue one coming through, which I do like that one. So I did get some extras of those. We'll see what happens. Great waking grass in all its glory. And then on the other side, pink campion just here have gone and replaced with scabiosa. That happened this week. And yeah, the flax is rather lovely, isn't it? Not grown this before. What a pretty colour. And beside the flax, the cress, wrinkled cress I want to say, Lipidium, that's pretty good as well. Again, I've not grown this before. A mass of red campion in my raspberries there somewhere, and then a little patch of cornflower, bit more ammi. I'm hoping, I'm not sure if my carrot fly protection is going to work or not, but anyway, we'll see. And then a next lot of clary, which will be very useful. Paddy enjoying the sunshine. Right, let's take a look. Oh, black currants are coming on nicely. The only thing still flowering down here is the Astrantia, and actually the Euphorbia oblongata is picked up too. Let's take a closer look. Now, the Achillea is starting to bud up, but I did notice some Achillea aphid, so I've got my eagle eyes on that. Yeah, a bit of a close-up there. So as you can see, the ladybirds haven't really got going yet, so a bit of soapy solution, just wiping it with my hands, and that usually does the trick, but I just need to keep on top of it. Right, so I threw in some spare Gypsophila Covent Garden and some spare Orlea in here because the perennials that were in here didn't survive the winter. I do have a Delphinium, which, well, we'll see. It survived the slugs so far. We'll see if it's flowering next time. Astrantia is flowering really nicely. And I got a nice pink one there actually. That's rather nice. Achillea the Pearl, Gypsophila paniculata. Lysimachia clithroides, or one thing that's going to make you smile because it made me smile. This lovely chrysanthemum from Higgledy Garden called Hippie Love Child. It really made me smile. Isn't that amazing? Echinops just getting bigger and bigger. Shasta daisy budding up, and leftover bits that I throw out of the potting shed, which I've managed to, some Hesperus here still flowering. Must have been a reject seedling. Need to get a wiggle on with some weeding here to unearth a few things. Looks like the Verbena bonariensis is coming now. Oh, I've got to keep an eye on the limonium, the sea lavender. Rather love that. A bit more achillea over there. Oh, catanach is coming on underneath the plums. Plums ripening up nicely. There's some catanach. Quite enjoying the shade. Veronica still has not flowered. Just got a bud here, so it will probably be finished by the time of the next video. And the sedum, looking like a little mini hedge actually. Potting shed. Oh yes, these are I have dug up my ranunculus this year and I've just popped them in here. We'll see, just to let them dry out, and I've never done that before, so we'll see if they actually sprout in the autumn. Nothing to lose, I suppose. Nice and tidy, which means that I must have a workshop coming up. Right, greenhouse. Quite a lot of things are hardening off outside, and I've run out of greenhouse space anyway. I'm just potting things on into bigger and bigger pots because I've got nowhere to put them at the moment. So the snapdragons, just always unbelievable because they start off as such tiny seed, and you're never gonna think you're gonna get anything, grow anything, and yeah, they get going. So zinnias as well in here, and a few things that I'm just going to pop in my garden somewhere. More molicella, larkspur. Actually, they could do with a bit more sunshine. A bit more phlox, I think that is. Sunflowers, amaranthus, and the pelargonium. It's doing nicely. Right, big greenhouse. Please remind me not to plant cornflower in the glasshouse again. Really was a bit of a waste of time because the outside grown is equally lovely and flowered at about the same time. Anyway, let's take a closer look at things. Gypsophila Covent Garden, that's a keeper in the glasshouse. Orleia, as advised by my friend Abby at Ibydene Flower Farm, definitely a keeper in the glasshouse. Cornflower, not a keeper. Pelargoniums, extra pelargoniums, new to me this year. I know that they do well in the glasshouse, and I managed to spot a couple of larkspur which have shot up in here actually. And the Ami. Yeah. Remember, I only planted 2 plants in here this year. I've already taken some cuttings, as in flower cuttings from it. Look at the size of that. Absolutely stunning. Right, let's have a look at all the various things still going in here. Helichrysum, bits and pieces. I have planted along just this bottom edge. If I plant too far back, there's not enough light, believe it or not, and things start going on a lean, so I'm just planting along the edge, and some of these will need some support, and on the whole they are heat-loving plants. Okay, lots and lots of Helichrysum. Rudbeckia, zinnia, molicella, nigella, cuttings from Dahlias, bit of some phlox, status. Most of my status is outside. More Helichrysum, more zinnia, grasses. Oh, and a second lot of melope as well. And my beloved phlox there. Oh, and these are Morning Glory actually. It's not quite what I thought it was going to be, but yeah, these are going to go up the sweet pea arch. I need to probably start hardening those off. They're going to be ready to go out soon. And I've just planted up my hanging baskets. I hope I've put enough in them. Phlox is fantastic in hanging baskets. The only phlox that A, I had enough seed of, and B, germinated well was the creme brulee. So these are going to be creme brulee baskets, plus some daisies, which I popped in there as well. And more plants just waiting to find a place to go. I'm just keeping them in a fairly sheltered place, possibly lacking a bit of sun, but I just didn't want them in the blazing sun. So lots more cosmos. I have planted quite a lot already. Some things I'm trying to hold back for some workshops here. Sunflowers are going to go where the alliums are, and also Mexican sunflowers there as well, which I've not done before. Okay, let's have a look at the dahlias, the orchard area, including the dahlias, most of which I have planted out. There's still a gap or two, but not a lot of space left anymore. Right, let's take a look at the dahlias first. So remember, some have been in all winter, like this Arabian Night. I haven't cut back any of them just yet. That's going to be a job for teaching my C2Vars people this weekend. Some of them are new. Here we go. Here's a couple of new ones just here. Looking quite healthy. They've only been in a few days. I don't normally do much in the way of watering, but we've had a week or so really quite hot weather, so I have just been doing a bit of watering to get them going. And I'm trying a new labelling system. Whether this will work, I do not know. So I'm putting these labels on the netting here. They're not the best quality, so I think they are going to perish. But all that happens is the birds just pull out anything that's actually in the ground like that. So I get a scattering of labels and I don't know what's what. Right, biennials. Now, my Sweet William have got some sort of virus, which at the moment, as long as I pick off all the leaves, you can't tell, but they're not going to last that long for me. So the whites have been out for a while, the Alba has been out for a while. I reckon I just planted them too close together and there wasn't enough aeration, because it did happen last year too, in a different place by the way. And this is just a mix here. Auricular eye, I guess. I do like a bit of colour, so we've got that in here. Let's have a look at the foxgloves, which are another biennial. So we've got Alba, a little bit of Alba here. I've cut the apricot ones. They weren't all that short, but they do seem to be a bit shorter. Lovely lot of large Alba, and then some huge common pink ones, which I absolutely love. Now the Hesperus has gone, it got the chop, and I've popped my Amaranthus, the Viridis, the green one side, Velvet Curtains the other side, and then I've got some Auric in the middle, which I've not grown before, so we shall see. And the little square veggie plot that was Vanessa's veggie plot. What have I got in here? I've got statice with some cynoglossum, and actually I've interplanted the cynoglossum with more statice. Snapdragons, they've been in a while, not quite a month, maybe a month. And then some Amobium alatum, which I need to cut actually. The top lot was planted out earlier than the bottom lot, and the bottom lot is looking a bit sad. It's trying to cope with this hot weather. Just spotted a baby thrush. Just saw its mummy coming in to give it a bit of food. It's obviously just fledged. Can you just see it hiding amongst the leaves in the apple tree? Just going to stand back so the mummy can come back. I would like to just show you the border, which is a bit weedy, but it's just filled out so much. My roses, amazingly, touch wood, look quite healthy. I don't quite know why or how. I have a feeling I might have given them a feed in the autumn. That might be why. The poppies, orientalis, they get everywhere. Great seed heads. Phlomis just here. Self-sown foxglove, patches of Astrantia, oh, looking good. Just all sorts jam-packed in here. Really happy with it. The Physocarpus Diablo, the back here. This was in a pot for several years. This is now, I think it's second summer out, and it's really kind of finding its feet now, which is wonderful. I sowed this Thunbergii, don't know if that's how you say it, from seed. So I should have 3 plants there. So that's the second one, and I've got another one amidst the cleaver over there, and another Physocarpus. Not looking so happy. I think I've got I need to feed it with something. I'll have to find out what. So the lavender is about to flower. It got a real chopping off at the end in the autumn by my husband, but it seems to be okay. He did go right back to the wood, but anyway, it survived. And the front little bit where all the narcissi were, they've all gone over, but I've Paddy's been making little nests there as well, and then there's other things that are just taking hold, or things that I planted out. So this little idea was quite successful last year. So I do my floristry in my garage right there, and obviously I have lots of leftover water. So that makes it so much easier. If I've got the plants here, I know it's north facing, but I'm just putting lots of plants here and they're getting watered regularly. And I don't feel like I'm wasting the water or having to lug it around the garden. So hopefully this will look quite nice in a month or so. Of years ago, I decided to, instead of mowing our verge here or just letting it get really weedy, I now put, again, leftover annuals, biennials, perennials in here. Don't get very obsessed about weeding, just let them do their stuff. I've also put some plugs of wildflowers in here as well. So this should hopefully provide a bit of colour all summer. So what a difference, don't you think? Yeah, just so much has come in flower. I'm getting to the stage now that plants are backing up, as you can tell. I need to be thinking about what's going to come out next and what I'm going to be putting in the ground. Look forward to seeing you next month in the July garden tour. Let's see how much has changed.